Hi, my name is Ben, this is Boardgame Dad, and today we're talking about the game Honk, produced by Sinister Fish in 2022 for 2 to 5 players. Honk is a pretty simple game, so this is going to be a short video, but you'll really like this game if you have young players in your family or if you are looking for board games that have very few rules. So in Honk, what you're trying to do is be the player who collects the most goose eggs. And to collect goose eggs worth victory points, you need to collect geese. So to set this game up, what you first do is spread out golden goose eggs all across the table, all scattered everywhere, and then you cover those eggs with geese. Now, the exact covering doesn't matter, can be pretty much shuffled and randomized, but they should be layered so that some geese are on top of others and all of the goose eggs have been covered. Once the table has been set with geese on top of goose eggs, you can set up the food cards in a row organized by the food type and keep the other goose eggs in a pile to the side. With that, players are ready to begin. So on a player's turn, a player can only do one of two things. Either they can collect food cards, and when they collect a food card, they can take any two different foods, or they can feed and collect a goose. Now, when feeding a goose, you can take any goose as long as there is no other goose on top of it, and you do this by discarding the matching food type. Once you've fed the goose, it'll come over to your collection, and you will earn one goose egg for the goose that you've just taken. However, if you have taken a goose that matches another breed of goose in your collection, you'll take one goose egg for each matching goose. So as a collection of one breed of geese grows, you'll get more and more eggs each time you take another goose of that type. There is one more benefit of taking a goose. If taking that goose reveals a golden egg, you also get to take that golden egg and add that to your collection as well. And that's the entire game. Now, normally when I review a game, I review it on its theme, mechanics, components, strategy, and complexity. But in this case, we have a very simple game with complexity of only one and very little thematically going on, which keeps the game so simple. So theme is only really a 1 as well. And then the components are about average. There's not a whole lot of components even in the game. And the iconography is also very simple. So I would give component score about a 7. The real gem about this game is the mechanics and how that affects the strategy, because this is a very simple game that you can teach to anybody, that anyone can play. There's only 2 actions, and even the rewards for feeding a goose are very intuitive. You take as many victory points as matching geese. So it's so simple, but what really adds to this game's replayability and what makes each game interesting isn't what actions you can do, but rather how the game has been set up with this random stack of geese. Because what you're doing when you're taking this food is you're looking at which geese are exposed and which geese will be exposed after other players have taken the ones that they're collecting. So I get excited whenever I find games that are enriching in that sense. You can play with a young child. They'll probably really have fun playing the game, and yet there's something more there than just a game for a young child. So for mechanics, I would rate this game very highly, because again, mechanics is all about how intuitive and brilliant the gameplay is for what the game is trying to do. For a family game that's easy to learn and fun to play for all ages, this game really nails it, and that's why I give it a 10 for mechanics. And then for strategy, I'd probably give it a 4. Now, I would give it a 3, maybe just for set collection and taking geese, but because there's that potential to look at what other people are collecting and trying to figure out based on how the pile is set up, which geese are ideal for you to collect, I think there's a little bit more to think about than you may initially think just looking at the surface of this game. So overall, what do I think about this game? Well, I've already talked about how well I think this serves as a family game, but there's one more thing I want to add, which is about the pace of the game. Because when we started to play it, I really thought it was boring. I initially thought, well, this is really dumb, because all I'm doing is taking resources and collecting a goose. That's all there is to do. It seems it seems like it's going to be slow, it's going to be repetitive, and I was kind of turned off to it and a little disappointed. But this was like only my initial impression. And then what started to happen was people had more food and people started taking geese off the table. And as you're taking geese and discarding cards, that changes what resources you have, and you're seeing what other people are doing. And so you start taking more food to adapt to what other people are taking. And then the pace just really picks up. And as the pace picks up and geese start getting removed from the table, you kind of get a little like urgent, like, oh my gosh, it's that fear of missing out almost. Like, I'll take any food I can. I just need to get a goose before the game is over. It's a really quick game. In fact, I think on the box it says it's 20 minutes long. I think we played our first game in 10 minutes. It's just, it's not nearly as slow as it seems, and that was a pleasant surprise for me, especially when I know that I'm playing a game that can play, it says on the box, ages 5 and up. So I did come into it with a little raised eyebrow, like, is this really going to be fun? But I love how easy it is to learn. I love that anybody can play it, and I love there's this extra element of thoughtfulness that doesn't necessarily come through when you're just reading the rules. So that is the game Honk. And again, this channel is Board Game Dad. I review all kinds of board games, and I even have a web app which you can check out games organized by the criteria that I talked about for this game, but I have a special emphasis on family games. So if you're about that, you can subscribe or check out my web app at theperfectboardgame.com. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.